conditions in the West worsen, people who call California home may find themselves facing tighter and tighter water restrictions, maybe even rationing. Joining us now, Joe Scriven from the Mendocino County Resource Conservation District. Joe, thanks for being with us. How close are we truly to some severe water restrictions?
Well, it depends on the neighborhood you're in, but I would say it's imminent. It is going to happen in California, and it's going to be mandatory.
When we talk about water restrictions, a lot of people across the country maybe may not be familiar. Are there levels? Do we start with certain restrictions and they grow, or what kind of restrictions would we be looking at?
Well, oftentimes the restrictions will be focusing on residential areas, and the situation right now is probably considered voluntary conservation, soon to be it'll be mandatory conservation for the homes, and they'll be limited to, say, 50 gallons per person per day, and that will be the goal that a lot of the water purveyors identify for their customers.
If we're looking at restrictions for households, how do we keep track of that? Is it kept track by your water meter, and what's the penalty if you exceed that limit?
Two good questions. One is learning how to read your water meter is an important part of knowing how to conserve water and identifying if you're even wasting it. And penalties, that'll depend on the water purveyor if they consider fines or even a shutoff of the water system. I think it depends on how severe your neighborhood is. So being proactive, I think, to avoid a penalty situation is really in our best interest.
We're showing video of things like sprinklers, people out there using the hose. Those, of course, would be things to go. What are other things around the home that people may not be thinking about using so much water that they might have to start keeping top of mind?
Well, the two basic ways to look at water conservation at home is, first off, is to assess the water fixtures you have at the house to see if there are leaks. And if you find leaks on them, then to repair the leaks. So a faucet, a shower head, toilets are especially notorious for having leaks. The second aspect is beginning to practice your water conservation behaviors. And that is the way we as people and our families, the way we use water on a daily basis. We've been brought up to take it for granted. And so by putting various practices into place, we can achieve 50 gallons per person per day easily. It just takes the time and the energy to focus on how to accomplish that. And my colleagues and I have the top 11 list of suggestions, which I'd like to share with you if I can, on basic things people could do every day.
Got a few minutes left. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, first off, it's the home toilet management aspect. And so this can be practiced at home, and that needs to be a conversation with the family. If it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. And not wasting water unnecessarily as you flush the toilet is really a huge water saver. Turn off the water while you're brushing your teeth and while you're soaping your hands while you're at home. A huge one is to allow your lawn to go brown this year. So don't water your lawn. Oftentimes, depending on your neighborhood, the lawn will come back this fall and winter, and it'll come back to green. The water you save from letting your lawn go brown can then be used to keep your shrubs and your trees alive, because your shrubs and trees have real value. And the goal here is to survive, not thrive, with your landscape. So if you provide enough water for your trees and shrubs to survive, you'll be able to get through this without severe damage to your landscape.
Oh, those are fantastic. Hey, Joe, I wanted to ask you this. Would there come a point where you might have to truck in water, drinking water for people?
That is a very likely situation. There are a lot of communities that are considered water insecure. And if their water supply, such as a spring or a creek or the reservoir, goes dry, then they're going to be relying upon surrounding communities to provide water delivery to make sure that they have their health and safety needs met. And human health and safety is the most important aspect of our water system. They come first. The people come first.
Well, what's going on in California may indeed be the biggest weather story that we follow this year. Joe Scriven joining us tonight. Joe, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.